You know, there is a musical element called pitch axis, which is a very useful tool for guitar players who want to improvise, who want to play solo. This element, pitch axis, is very simple. It is not a complicated element. What it is just it is simply a note that is common to all the chords in a progression. If it is not common to all the chords in the progression, it is common at least to most of them. So I just played I played C major 7th, C minor 7th, and then F minor 7th. So if you have a progression of two chords, for example, C minor 7th and progressing to C major 7th and moving to C minor 7th, then how are you going to improvise over those two chords? How are you going to approach the improvisation over those two chords? Okay, one very important way to improvise over a progression is by playing modes. So if you have a progression and then one note, a chord tone, is common to every chord in the progression, that note becomes the anchor of the progression. For example, C major 7th moving to C minor 7th, you have C, the note C in the C major 7th, and you have the same note C in the C minor 7th. So you can call the pitch, C is the pitch axis because it belongs to both chords in the progression. So you can also call it the anchor of the progression. So to make it easy for you to choose notes, okay, with which to improvise over those two chords, you can concentrate, you can focus on only one note, which is the pitch axis, which is the C note, and then you can play different scales, different modes, starting on the C note, depending on the chord's type depending on the chord types you have in the progression. So that means you don't have you're going to use that pitch axis, that common tone, as your point of reference, okay? You don't have to be thinking about any other route to start your soloing on. It's going to be always C, because C is the pitch axis of the progression, because you find it in all the chords, or almost most of them at least. So depending on the chords you're going to improvise on, starting on C, you can play C Ionian mode, right? Okay. That's the Ionian mode. That's on the first chord, C major 7th. Okay, now what about C minor 7th? Okay, now remember, now you have minor, you have flat third, E flat. So if you play C major 7th, which is the C major 7th scale mode, which is the Ionian mode, over C minor 7th, more than likely it's not going to sound good, because you have that E flat there. So now one of the best scales to use is the C Aeolian mode, which contains the flat 3 over the C minor 7th. Okay, but your point of reference, the note you always start with, the pitch axis, is the C, which is in both chords. So okay, so it's not complicated. It is really, it's a very good tool, very good musical tool to use, because now once I know the pitch axis, I know every scale, every mode I'm going to use is going to start with it's going to start on the pitch axis. In this case, the C. But the modes and the scale starting on the same root may be different depending on the chords you're going to improvise on. Got it? So I am going to before I do that, on the C minor 7th chord, so the scale to use is the C Aeolian mode, and then on the C major 7th chord, the scale to use, well, mode is not a scale, but you know, for the sake of argument, you can call it a scale mode. You can call them, speaking of modes, you can call them scales. So now C Aeolian mode, now when you play C Aeolian mode, that means C Aeolian mode belongs to another major key, which is E flat major key, which is E flat Ionian mode. So you can you can improvise over those two chords by playing C major scale and E flat major scale. Okay, then you will play the C Ionian, and you will have played the C Ionian mode and the C Aeolian mode. Okay, what I'm going to do, I am going to play. I'm going to try to improvise over a rhythm that I recorded. I recorded a rhythm, which contains first C major 7th to C minor 7th, and then in the middle of the progression I changed it to C major 7th to F minor 7th. C major 7th, F minor 7th. I'm going to try to improvise over the progression using C Ionian mode and C Aeolian mode. I'm going to try. I'm going to make mistakes. I don't know what I'm going to play. It's going to be just improvisation, and whatever comes to my head, that's what I'm going to play. It may sound good, it may not, you know. So here we go.